Something interesting is happening inside Apple's future plans. At first, it looked like a mistake. Then it looked like confusion. And now, in mid-January 2026, it looks like clarity is finally coming. The iPhone 18 Pro is now back in the news, and this time, the story is not about speed, cameras, or AI features. It is about the front of the phone, the part you look at every single day. And yes, it involves the selfie camera, Face ID, and that confusing design leak that fooled a lot of people. Let's break this down slowly, clearly, and properly.
18 Pro. Whew, it is causing some drama right now.
Face ID and the dynamic island, and really just the display in general on the next generation iPhone.
Where this story started. On January 20th, 2026, multiple reports started circulating online about the iPhone 18 Pro design. At first, many tech pages said Apple was moving the selfie camera to the top left corner of the display. That idea spread fast. People started posting mock-ups. YouTube thumbnails exploded. Some even said Apple was copying Android phones. But then something important happened. More reliable sources stepped in, and they said that design was not correct. The translation error that caused confusion. The original design information came from Chinese sources. One key detail was translated incorrectly. Because of that small translation mistake, many people misunderstood Apple's real plan. According to later reports, including confirmation from supply chain-focused sources, Apple never planned a top-left selfie cutout for the iPhone 18 Pro. Instead, the correct design is very different and much more Apple-like. The real design. Central pill cutout. The iPhone 18 Pro is now said to feature a central pill-shaped cutout placed in the middle at the top of the screen. Not left, not scattered, but centered. This is important. Why? Because Apple has always cared deeply about visual balance. From the original iPhone to the dynamic island, Apple prefers symmetry. Centered designs feel calm. They feel intentional. They feel premium. This new pill cutout continues that idea, but there is more happening under the display. Face ID is changing again. Now this is where things get really interesting. According to new information shared around January 18th to January 20th, 2026, Apple is reworking how Face ID parts are placed. Here is the new rumored setup. The selfie camera stays visible. The IR sensor sits next to the camera. The flood illuminator moves under the display. That means part of Face ID will become invisible. You won't see it, but it will still work. This is a big step. Why this matters more than it sounds. At first, this may sound like a small design tweak, but it is not. Apple has been slowly pushing towards a future where nothing interrupts the screen. No notch, no punch hole, no visible sensors. This rumor shows Apple is halfway there. Instead of removing everything at once, which could hurt reliability, Apple is moving step by step. This is very similar to how Apple handled the headphone jack, Touch ID removal, the first Face ID system, the first dynamic island, slow changes, controlled changes. Apple hates risk. Why Apple is not rushing this? Some people ask, why not hide everything under the display now? Simple answer: trust. Face ID is a security system. It must work in bright light, darkness, angles, movement, fast unlock moments. Under-display sensors still struggle with consistency. Apple would rather delay than ship something unreliable. This is where Apple is very different from many other brands. Comparing Apple's style to others. If you look at how other tech leaders move, the difference is clear. Some companies rush features to be first. Apple prefers to be last, but best. This is also why comparisons with people like Elon Musk often come up. Musk moves fast. He breaks things. He iterates publicly. Apple does the opposite. They test quietly, they fail privately, they ship only when ready. Both approaches shape the future, but in very different ways. Why this design leak feels believable. Now let's talk credibility. This rumor was supported by supply chain leaks, industry-focused tech sites, a well-known Apple leaker on X, a Chinese source with a history of correct Apple predictions. Most importantly, multiple sources now agree. That is key. Single leaks can be wrong. Multiple aligned leaks usually mean something real is happening.
Remaining front-facing camera to the top left corner of the display.
What this means for dynamic island. You may be wondering, what happens to the dynamic island? Right now, it is unclear. But here's the logical thinking. If Apple keeps a central pill cutout, dynamic island may still exist, but in a cleaner, more subtle form. Or Apple could be slowly preparing users for its removal. First, smaller hardware. Then, more hidden sensors. Finally, full under-display system. This would match Apple's long-term behavior perfectly. Apple cares about the front camera so much. The selfie camera is no longer just for selfies. It is used for Face ID, video calls, content creation, social media, Vision Pro ecosystem interactions. Apple knows this camera is now a core interface, not just a lens. That's why changes here take years, not months. What we still don't know. There are still unanswered questions. For example, will Face ID performance change? Will Dynamic Island remain? Is this design final or a prototype stage? Will non-pro models follow later? Apple is silent, as always, and that silence usually means work is ongoing. Apple's endgame. If we zoom out, the goal becomes clear. Apple wants a full-screen iPhone with no visible interruptions, but with perfect security and zero reliability issues. The iPhone 18 Pro may not finish that journey, but it looks like a major step forward. Ending note. If this rumor turns out to be true, the iPhone 18 Pro will not shock people on day one, but a year later, everyone will say, yeah, this was the right move. If you enjoy calm, clear tech news without hype, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned. Because the future of smartphones is changing. Slowly, quietly, and right in front of us.